Right, welcome everybody to another episode of Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. I am one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hello there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. We are covering I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, Season 24, Episodes 1 to 6. Sorry, Chris, very unprofessional there. You know what it was?
Yesterday.
I was just thinking of yesterday where we recorded the VHS Strikes Back and just completely ballsed up the start, and you got confused and wanted to call me Johnny for some weird reason. But anyway, Chris, where would you like to start today?
Well, it's funny you should mention yesterday, Dave, because, you know, I ballsed up the start, wanted to call you Johnny after millions of podcasts, and you forgot something else, but I won't hold it against you, Dave. It's all right. I don't bear any grudges. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
See, all the things. So obviously, you know, letting people peek behind the curtain so religiously funny little connection there, religiously, Chris. But every Saturday morning we're there, come rain nor shine. Not that it matters, we're indoors anyway. But and then we have a good old chat, and then we'll record, and then, you know, sometimes, you know, we go on a bit. Well, actually, every time we go on a bit, but sometimes we have a drop dead time when we have to finish. And you told me, obviously, it was your birthday. You were like, yeah, I've got to finish. I'm like, okay, let's get into it. And then later in the day, I start to see on social media, like, happy birthday, Chris. And I'm like, oh, shit. That's why he had to run off.
And the thing is, though, you know what it's like with lads, you don't really give a shit about that, but I was like chuckling to myself because you are the master at AI songs. I can create AI songs, I've used them, but you're really good. And I'm thinking, has he forgotten about my birthday? Because they even said at one point, now I'm being 46, you know, wait for you to say like, oh shit, and that went over your head as we were recording. You know, when we both talk, sometimes we zone out. And at the end, I'm thinking he's got some musical number here. I know he has. He's going to pull some out the bag, because at the end of the VHS, you always have a song, don't you, which is in relation to the movie we just covered. But no, there wasn't. And then I'm thinking, I'm going to see
just twist the knife a little bit more.
Twist it in a bit more. But what was funny then, I'm then chuckling to myself going, I wonder how long it's going to be before I get a message going, oh shit. And it was about 4 hours later. You were like, not like I recorded with you this morning and forgot.
Did you have a good day though?
I did actually. I was very upset that you didn't wish me happy birthday. They ruined the whole day. But other than that, no.
You cried yourself to sleep at night.
I was gutted. I was devastated. I needed that acceptance from you. No, good day. It's far too much food and everything in sight, which you should do on your birthday. But no, it was a really good day. To be honest, we were back home for about 8 o'clock last night because we'd gone out mid-afternoon, and then it was like, but we had a curry, Dave, absolute schoolboy, had a lovely drink and that, and then we went for a curry, and at first the food starts coming out, and it's a lovely restaurant this near us, and I'm like, not a lot of food there. Oh, Chris, you absolute bella. And Dave, I swear to God, all three of us wasted. It looked like we'd not even touched the food by the time we'd finished. And I can put the food away, and I was literally, like, I felt like I was on an all-inclusive, and it was like, you've got to eat everything inside. I couldn't move. It was so good. But yeah, we were absolutely done then. So we were back home for about 8 o'clock. Sam watched Strictly. I had a bit of gaming, and then I think I was in bed for about 10:30. So it was a good day. It was a very good day. And it's another go around the world anyway, so I can't complain.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, when you fill out questionnaires and stuff, do you need to fill out a different category now?
Well, I'm in your category nowadays, so don't you start with that.
I'll never get you on the age thing, but it just occurred to me then there's a different band now, so
yeah,
counting down. But speaking of eating a lot and stuff, obviously the bush trucker trial seemed to have stepped up a notch this year. Didn't know that was possible. But what have you made of this season? I mean, 24 seasons. I know we covered it last year, which was my reintroduction into this franchise. But what do you reckon in terms of, have you enjoyed it? Is it better, worse, same, middling?
Well, I think because we've come off the back of maths, and obviously, like you were saying, with people behind the curtain, we were debating what we're going to cover. This is like easy. It's an easy win for us to cover because it's on all the time. It's on the UK. It's at a good time. You're not having to try and find it through a streaming service or anything. So, and it is all over social media. No, I mean the one that we pay for, David. but I mean, this is like one of them shows where it's on every bit of media, isn't it? Not just social media, it's on everything. You can't go, you buy a newspaper, I'm a Celebrity, wherever you go, which I know is old hat. So it is, and to be honest, as a country in the UK, it is probably the biggest reality show, isn't it? Because it's on ITV, which is there's ITV and BBC One, the two main channels in the UK. I know Love Island's big, but that's for a certain age or two weird middle-aged men like you watch it.
Don't say it's a certain age, because we are definitely not in that age.
That's what I'm saying, two weird men who've got children the same age as the contestants, but we find it, but we can just slate them. But anyway, no, I'm a Celeb, so I've pretty much watched it from the start. I don't think there's a series I haven't watched. Sometimes you miss the odd episode, but I usually find as they get hungrier and hungrier, everyone gets nastier and nastier. So you get that initial thing together. And Dave, I am, me, I'm one of the, I try to be one. I'm a pleasant person. I'm not, I'm not quick fire, aggressive. I'm thinking, but I can be so nice to people. I reckon after a couple of weeks in there of no food and just eating rice and that, you think you even see my bad side. So I do like the way it ekes out the fakers more than, say, a Big Brother. Like a Big Brother, you'd know they're all going to be best mates for the first few days. And then it's like, oh, he's a wanker, she's a wanker, whatever. And you see it all. But with I'm a Celeb, it's a lot at stake. And to be honest, we talk a lot about Love Island, about the platform that Love Island gives to these no-mark, basically people who are not celebrities. But I'm a Celebrity is a massive platform for people who have not probably been in the public eye for a long time, like Talisa's now on it, who was a big judge at one point on like X Factor and everything. Good friends to Simon Cowell. I think Colleen Rooney is probably some. I've seen stuff today. She's going to get presenting jobs off the back of it. So these, if someone comes across really well and they get that sort of British public and people get them and they're a really nice person, because I've seen nothing but praise on Colleen Rooney this last week or so. I genuinely think like it is a masterstroke, Dave, more than even Love Island, but these are celebs of some sort. So that is the absolute aim. And what I always find is a lot of the ex-contestants end up on This Morning to start with, doing that roving reporter thing where they go out to people's houses, or they're by the sea surfing, or they're, just doing stupid things. And it just seems to be a natural step for doing I'm Celeb. So it's going to be interesting because there's a couple of people who are liked at the start of the week, and by the end of the week, I'm like, you're fucking bellends. So exactly what we need.
Definitely. And you're right. It's definitely more in the prime time slot on ITV, isn't it? And I think I started off, and you get introduced to I'm going to do the finger quotes, Chris, celebrities.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who the fuck are all this lot? Obviously the guy from Coronation Street, Colleen Rooney, fair enough. Later on in the week we got Moira, didn't we? So obviously we just knew from Love Island. Now I will say, for our generation, if you're living in the UK, Barry McGuigan, what a fucking legend. And seeing him pop up again, I'm sure we'll speak about him in a bit. But yeah, I was like, fucking hell, they are really scraping it here. But you're right. You look at Sam from last year and how well he's done now. It seems like in Love Island, if you do well, if you stay on screen for a long time, you get more and more Instagram followers, and then you can get different brands coming in, advertise this, advertise that. You might get invited to an opening of a nightclub, David Brent style, or something like that. But it's a different level. It's like the mainstream media, isn't it, that you can get into? So you can be on the periphery, as this lot are, most of them, and then you're sort of suddenly thrust into much, much bigger jobs. So it is a completely different platform. It's a different thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and you're right. And I'm with you. celebrity, like Sam loves Strictly, so I knew who Oti was straight away. Danny Jones has been on The Voice recently with the other guy in the band. I think Danny Jones is actually an underrated guitarist, musician, songwriter. I think he's really talented. He was actually on, what's it called, the one where they dress up, dress up as stupid animals and that and sing. The bloody
The Masked Singer.
Yeah, the Masked Singer. He's been on that recently and everything as well. So he's trying to get into this sphere, you know, of like presenting, judging shows or whatever. So I get that. And then Jane Moore from like Loose Women, obviously Barry McGuigan, Alan Hassel, Dave, and I will tell a story, which you know this story, but Alan Hassel is actually responsible for me getting a clip round the ear one day in Manchester, because he's not a big guy. He's young Tyrone. And, you know, he's not very tall. And he came into what's called Barca Bar. And I have told you this story, Dave. I know I have, but I don't want to set up this podcast. We're out, me and Sam, our two friends, Kevin Clare, we're all about the same ages. We're all there, like having a drink. It's a nice sunny day. I've got shades on. And then Tyrone comes past the night. This was about 10 years ago.
I love how you use his Coronation Street.
Yeah, it's fucking Alan Hassel. Yeah, but Tyrone, anyway. The only good thing is he's a United fan. But anyway, he goes into Barca Bar. Fucking hell, Dave. You'd think he was fucking Tom Cruise had walked in. You know, everyone's, you know, swooning around him, all the girls and all this. And I get it, you know, he's a celeb around Manchester and stuff. So we're there chatting away. So I go to the bar and I'm getting a drink, me and Sam, and I'd had these like aviators on and I took them off, and Kev's chatting away to me, my mate, and all this. And then he comes out, but he sort of knew everyone was looking at him. You know, one of them, Dave, where you know if you see a celeb and they all love that attention, whether you think you don't, they do. And he's there, and obviously he's like sort of peacocking, but like he's peacocking from a small elevation, Dave, let's be honest, but he's peacocking anyway, and he's like, everyone's there. So I've come back and Sam's like, oh, did you get to speak or something like that? I was like, no, he was at the bar, you know, he's just fucking, to be honest, he looked like a bit of a fucking big head, but I was like, yeah, it's fine. And then Dave, forgetting I didn't have my sunglasses on, a rather good-looking young lady walked across my line of sight. But obviously, Dave, as you know this, if you've got sunglasses on as a man, you do the action man thing where your whole head does not move, but your eyes move, you know, like, because you're just sort of going, all right, she's rather attractive. I got a whack on the head because Sam went, you fucking dickhead, you haven't got your fucking sunglasses on, have you? And she clocked me completely. And
well, this quite frankly, Chris, is a revelation to me. I had no idea about this tactic you just bestowed upon me.
You're going to have a nose bigger than mine if you carry on. With the whole action man thing, don't you? You just move your eyes with the shades on. And it was a belting moment. Sam always laughs about it because she clocked me, hot lads, and I had nothing, Dave. And I'm like, yeah.
The eyes going across. But, I mean, I'm just looking at his wiki page. He left Coronation Street, I mean, it says 2013, but it doesn't say the year end. I can't actually see what he's done since Coronation Street. He's not really done anything.
He's still in Corrie.
Oh, is he?
He left and then came. Yeah, he's still in it. He owns the garage with Kevin Webster. Right. Oh, Dave, you've got to give him the times here. You've let the team down there.
Well, you know, I'm totally out of all the soaps. I don't keep up to date with them at all. So when he was talking about Jack and Vera, he said, oh, that was 15 years ago. I guess he was talking about moving in with them and stuff, but I didn't realize he was still on the actual show.
Yeah, he held together, and he's married to Fizz, and they've got the kids because Sam watches it, so I know everything in Corrie, Dave, whether I like it or not.
But you know, that kind of callback to how these people have influenced your own life. So there is a bit of a spurious link to Danny Jones. So, you know, I'd say, I'm sure I've discussed it on this podcast, if not the VHS Strikes Back, but I remember you and I chatting, and we were watching a band. It was in Darwin, and I'd always had in my head, I'm going to play music forever until they carry me away in a box. And we were watching these older gentlemen do a rock kind of number. And I remember you saying something like, yeah, there's no way I'm going to be fucking doing that when I'm old. Like, and it really made me think. And I was like, yeah, it does look a little bit ridiculous. I mean, fair dues if you're the Rolling Stones and you fucking cream, a load of cash for every single gig you do. But, just playing the local pub and stuff, still with your Grateful Dead numbers and whatever, from the 70s, it's like, yeah, it doesn't look as good as you probably think it is. And I thought, yeah, you're right. I don't think I do want to have that for myself. I had it in my head. Like, so, before I joined whatever with you and the lads, I was doing original stuff, and I'd given myself up to the age of 30, just mentally. And I thought, you know what, if I haven't made it in the music industry by then it's not a case of luck. You have to say to yourself, you're just not good enough. Because I was doing the whole Manchester Unsigned circuit, so you do the usual Roadhouse, and played at the Cavern Club, and so you're at all these places. And so I was thinking, just 30 is probably the cutoff, but I think it was even before that. And McFly and Busted. And McFly, I think, were the first ones, and then Busted came through not too long after, in my memory. I can't remember. They were both around the same time. And they were the bands that were genuine bands. And I was watching them, and I was like, these are actually really good. And like, they're kids. So, I'm nearly 30, which in my head at the time was really old. And I was thinking, there's no way. And so that was the thing for me where it solidified in my mind, right, I'm going to get out of the original stuff. Next band I joined, Chris, was Whatever with you. So there you go. Spurious link to Danny Jones there.
Unbelievable. And I thought I would be doing music for the rest of my life, Dave, and I'm so glad that there wasn't any smartphones out when I was singing, but there you go.
Could have put paid to an earlier end to the career. I tell you, volume is a great leveler. If it's loud, people don't care. Loud, alcohol, yeah, all good.
Yeah, perfect. We always sounded better in the second set, Dave. You're right. I don't know what. I don't know why, but yeah. I suppose you better talk about this. But yeah. So this week, what have you seen, Dave? That like got you into it, or sort of? Just I must admit, first episode, there's always that little bit of like helicopter stuff in there, skydiving. There's always something. They always do something sort of James Bond Mission Impossible type, which I quite like. I like the one where he used to stand over the side of the building. They did it last series. They've done that for years. But initially, when they all get together, you're trying to suss people out because there's a few people here. I didn't have a fucking clue who they were. I'll be honest with you. I didn't have a clue who Dean McCullough was, and I didn't have a clue who the girl is.
GK Barry.
GK Barry, yeah. I didn't have a clue. Never heard of her.
Yeah, I mean, I was the same. Like I say, I think it was even worse than that for me. So Barry McGuigan and Colleen Rooney were probably the two that I knew to recognise, and everyone else, I'm like, who the fuck are you lot? And I think the thing that jumps out at you is everyone comes in their best clobber. They come in with all the makeup on and everything. I'm like, yeah, that's my mind is going for a couple of weeks in. Like, you're gonna get rid of that pretty soon. So yeah, everyone comes in, everyone's really nice, everyone's putting their best foot forward and everything. So yeah, I was not fully bought in the first episode, but I think by the second one, I think I was getting more into it. And I'm going to throw out an early prediction, Chris, because I think, mentioned about Danny Jones, I think he's this year's winner. I think he comes across really well. I didn't realize he did all the other stuff that you rattled off before, but the Radio 1 presented as well. But I just think he comes off really well. He's there for the group. You did see in this very latest episode, you saw a little bit of selfishness creep in as the, as people start to get hungrier and crabbier because they can't get a good night's sleep or whatever. But I just think out of everyone, he stands out as being someone who the public are warm to. But yeah, I've very much enjoyed it. I've liked the whole junkyard thing there that they threw in, the ruse. Yeah. that lasted for 2 days or something. But yeah, I think it was good when they came in, and you start to get to know the characters. So I very much parked now that the fact that I didn't know them before. I didn't expect old Melvin to declare his intentions for Carol Vorderman, but fair play.
And she's declared her intentions for Melvin as well, Dave.
Yeah. I saw that on the old social media. So yeah, and I tell you what, from not knowing, and like everyone in the country, I probably got sucked in a little bit with the whole Colleen Rooney, Wagatha Christie thing. But I mean, at the time and when the court case was going on. But she comes across really quite well, and I haven't solved the puzzle in my head as to why she's with Wayne Rooney, to be honest, because we know what a character he is. But yeah, I thought she's come across really well. Yeah,
well, you say that, Dave. Maybe it's the shitload of money that he earned as a footballer.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying not to. That's the obvious thing, isn't it? But she doesn't strike me.
She seems like a nice person.
Yeah, she doesn't strike me as being that motivated with it. She could have left Rooney years ago.
Oh, and be financially stable, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. She doesn't have to be reliant on his money. And he's managing fucking Plymouth now. His earning potential he's not going to be a good manager, I don't think. So his earning potential is on the wane. I no pun intended there. So yeah, I'm still puzzled by that, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't. I think as she's been on this week, dead grounded, dead normal. Really, she's not buying the Kool-Aid of it. There's obviously a reason she's trying to elevate, her platform. That's what they've said. Like, these presenting jobs are going to fall at her feet. I think she'd be ideal on a loose women type show because I think she's real. It's not that she's not really had that celebrity hook, but also. I was getting fucking sick to death of Ant Depp doing the Rebecca Vardy thing. I mean, the fact that Rebecca Vardy's she's trademarked Wagatha Christie is unbelievable. But I just every time, yeah, she's trademarked it, which is fucking unbelievable.
You know what? It has made me want. There's a documentary on ITV, isn't there? Because I saw it on one of the adverts. Yeah, of course you have. But it's made me want to go and watch it now.
It's good.
I remember following it. I remember following the case at the time, and I was like, "Oh right, that's quite clever how you've done that there, and you've kind of." Narrowed it down, and then it became or undisputable who it was who was leaking to the press. But how Vardy just fiercely defended it, and you're like, oh, you're a fucking bellend, really. So I don't know if I watch the documentary if I'll feel any differently about it. But because, like I say, because I was following the case a bit at the time, I don't know if I'll find out anything different. But I'm still going to watch it anyway.
You still got to watch it. You still got to watch it. It was brilliant because I loved that press release she did on Instagram or whatever she did. And she's like, it's Rebecca Vardy's account. And it was like, what the fuck's this? It's like fucking Columbo or Miss Marple or something, wasn't it?
Hey, just one more thing.
She wrote, Angela Lansbury. I've just got one more thing. It's just fucking nonsense. But it was in the public eye once. They were like England teammates at one point, weren't they? Rooney's the captain of England. Vardy played for him, and I'm sure they probably got on. They probably texted each other away from this going like, yeah, sorry about all that, mate. One of them. But yeah, it's an insular world, isn't it? It's like, it's very close-knit in football. So having her in's really good. And I do think I think the one thing that caught me when they all got together was the Barry McGuigan story about his daughter. God. Fucking hell, that was unbelievable. What a terrible tragedy and something that's relatable to all of us with family. It's just it's so sad, and just to see him so upset we talked about it, didn't we, early in the week after we'd watched it? Like really, really sad.
I mean, and it shouldn't be weird, but it is. It's not a normal thing that we see, is it? Like someone, like a man in a very machismo sort of profession, if you like. Again, he almost transcended boxing in the UK, didn't he? He had his own spitting image puppet and everything. That was the pinnacle. So he's very much a big character in the mid-'80s when he was at the peak of his powers, kind of thing. And it's unusual to see someone show that emotion, or a man show that emotion like that. And then later you had Danny sort of was getting a bit upset as well. So I think it's a really good thing. And I like the way everyone kind of rallied round him to say it's absolutely fine. But yeah, it did. Honestly, Chris, for me, I was fucking gone.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm with you. You'd be a heart of stone if you didn't react to that, Dave. At least a lump in the throat there. It was sad thing. But I think Barry's come across really well, hasn't he? I love the stuff with Danny. One of them things, and this, you kickboxing and stuff like that. But when you get someone who actually can fight, someone who can actually box,
level.
or does MMA and all, and you'll get people. We know people think that in any sort of scenario they can take people out and all this. And you do something like that, you are so vulnerable, and it absolutely scares you to death. I've done it. You've done it. I did MMA, kickboxing, Thai boxing. There is nothing worse than somebody who looks like an average person coming up to you and you're like, yeah, no problem. Because you're judging them thinking, I'll be all right here. And they absolutely love you. Or they do something where you go, oh, I'm well out of my depth. And Barry McGuigan with Danny said, Danny, hit me. And he's like, I don't want to hit me. And they were literally like a little kid or something was hitting him, wasn't they, Dave? And he said, even now at 60, he's in great shape. His stomach was like his abs and everything. And it's like, yeah, that's when you know you're in trouble. But yeah, what a humble guy. I've always liked Barry McGuigan. I know there is a lot of stuff going on with one of his old boxers just retired. He fell out with him because Shane, his son's a trainer. And it's called the Northern Irish boxer. But yeah, there's a big thing about money and that he was being accused of taking money off this boxer and stuff, which is Carl Frampton, and saying they hid deals for him. And he went to court and everything. It was a real terrible breakup because they're from Northern Ireland as well. Really sad. So I don't know whether he's come on that because of this, because he'd always been a pundit on boxing for years, Barry McGuigan. He was always on Sky, ITV, everything once he retired. But I just find him to be a really, really good guy. I don't know the business practices or whatever, but as a person, I think he seems one of the more genuine ones.
Yeah, definitely. And it's another personal connection, Chris. We're talking about boxing in the 80s. So I used to, when I very first started trying to go to the gym and stuff, my uncle took me along to John Lyon's gym. I don't know if you remember him at all.
John Lyon,
Yeah. So he was from St. Helens, and I say his gym is probably it's the same size as your gym, Chris, or maybe a little bit bigger. It's just in his back garden, so. Yeah. You sort of forget about these little things, don't you? But I agree. I think he'll definitely make it quite far through as well. He just seems very grounded. And you're right. When they were sort of playing around, there was something in the motion when Barry McGuigan was. It was like he was almost tapping Danny Jones, but you could see it really hurts. And he's really trying to say, oh, look, it's a mark from Barry McGuigan. And I was thinking, yeah, you just want to fucking find yourself a quiet corner and just let out a bit of a yelp, don't you?
He's probably pissing blood in you something. You get a kidney shot and you're on it, aren't you? I've been there, got the T-shirt. There's nothing worse than then you trying to be brave, aren't you? I'm fine. Yeah, I know. You're not fine.
I've done it for a while, but was it last year? It might have been the year before. It's just the instructor seemed to go through this phase of doing that. So just stand up with your back to the wall. And then hold your arms up in the air, and then the other person just fucking punches you in the stomach for a minute. Now, a minute, you think, it's not that long, really. Well, depending on the scenario, Chris. Sometimes it can be a really long time. And when you're getting punched in the midriff there for a minute, and especially if someone's taking it easy, then he'd come over himself and he's like, bah, 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 bah. He's like, fucking hell. I work in an office, so
I just want to get fit.
Kid or something. Yeah, I just want to do some, slightly more stressful yoga. But yeah, no, that was a good little bonding moment there, wasn't it?
Oh, it's brilliant. Yeah, it was. But it is that, like, Danny, you can see, to be fair, Danny was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Leave me alone. Like, good. It was good. It was good. And I think the challenges all week, like Dean has been picked, Dean McCullough, Radio 1 presenter. Apparently, he actually does his show from near me, Dave, in Salford, the Media City. So, obviously, that's where I've been a few times representing the podcast, Dave. For us as the reality TV. You remember when I before it was David Beckham on Comic Relief, Dave? I don't want it as part of the Comic Relief challenge.
Oh,
I told everyone.
It's second to. Oh, do you remember that time when you said there was a 1% chance for Ekin and Davide to get together? I think the David Beckham thing is second in that list.
It's the greatest achievement in my life, Dave. Greatest achievement. Unbelievable. But yeah, I felt like as the week's gone on, I sort of thought he was quite funny. Obviously, he's got that, like, you can clearly see he's done some sort of stage stuff. It's acting. He's a Radio 1 presenter. But then I felt like, especially last night's episode, I didn't like what he did with Alan. I felt that was quite intimidating. It was like a body language thing. He sort of put his hand on his shoulder, this bullshit about waking up, my eyes have got to adjust, I've got contacts in. I've just felt that there's a few things coming in, and I do feel as if the mask is dropping. I feel that there's a bit of and it could be the food side of it, as I said at the start. Maybe it's that, because he's come across quite funny, and he's been really over the top. He's made great TV. But there's just something crept in, and I didn't like what he did with Alan Hassel last night at all. I felt that was completely out of order, and Alan had nowhere to go. Because I'll be honest, Dave, if someone was doing that to me, I think you naturally would just push him away and go, can you get out of my space? Because it was very awkward, wasn't it? And he was doing his best to diffuse it, and then he didn't help Jane Moore. She's got a fucking 6-year-old woman's got all these big fucking bags and that. And then he goes and has a sleep.
He's got a few little twigs.
Yeah, and he's going on about how tired he is because he'd been with more and that the night before, and the Reverend in the bloody the thing there. I'm like,
the junkyard.
Yeah, I think he thinks he's the main character, and I think they've pitched him like that this week. But this could all come crashing down around him, I think.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, and I'm going to give him a bit more slack. I think when you're about to fall asleep, or if you're in a deep sleep and someone wakes you up, it does take you a minute to sort of come around and figure out what's going on. Especially, and not to say this would be better, but maybe if Alan had just said, fucking get up, Dean, or, just shouting in it, he'd have fucking woke up pretty quick then. But no, he tried to gently wake him up. And then, I say, it was fucking nothing, was it? I mean, I was trying to see from Dean's perspective, okay, was it almost... Was Alan trying to put words in his mouth or make out as if he'd said that, and make him look bad? But no, I do feel like I'm falling more on the side of the fence there. It is a bit of the mask slipping. So I think there's a lot of the over the top stuff, and everyone fucking evil, sending him back in for the challenges. I actually again call out Danny Jones. Like, I thought he did really well when them two went for the challenge, and I thought he talked him through pretty well. And from where he'd started with the challenge, where he just didn't get any stars or anything, comes out with some stars and whatever. As soon as they invited him to the junkyard, by the way, I thought, that's it. The gig's up. He's going to give it away. Now, I don't think it was necessarily him. And actually, let's come back to the Wagatha Christie thing in a bit. But yeah, I just felt like in that moment when he was, like you say, he was stood, he had the high ground. Like Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker. He had the high ground, and he's being quite intimidating, like you say, and it had completely changed. And he couldn't see Alan's perspective, that Alan was saying, okay, I'm sorry if you took it that way. That's not the way I meant it. But he just wouldn't let it go. And so I'm intrigued now if we're going to see a bit more of that. Like you say, as people get a bit more tired, like you say, he'd had a lovely night sleep. Maybe that was part of the problem. Fruit and everything, lovely things to eat. He didn't have to do the challenge, so he's had a great 24 hours. But then he chose that moment to be an absolute knob.
Yeah, bizarre. And that's what I'm thinking is like, is he slowly thinking I'm the main character of this? Like, this is where he starts getting a bit big-headed because he's being picked. Being picked for the actual challenges initially is usually for the ones who are unpopular, but then it's the ones who bring the entertainment. So in his head, is he thinking, well, they know I'm bringing the drama. I'm shouting, I'm being silly. He's totally playing up to everything. I'm not saying it's nice when these bloody rats, snakes, whatever they're, Dave, and we'll talk about Danny's snake, Jesus Christ. But I feel that, like, if you've watched this show enough, you know how to manipulate the audience. And I think this guy is going for full-on primetime TV presenter's job the way this is going. Like Roman Kent did a few years ago, and now he's a radio presenter like Dean is, but then he's been on loads of shows now. He's presenting loads of different TV stuff off the back of I'm A Celeb. So that's what it feels like. It's the platform for Dean, but I just feel you're on the edge of getting a fucking a slating off people, I think, if he carries on. I was just thinking he needs to check himself a little bit.
It'll be interesting where it goes, that's for sure. But so you mentioned that thing about Danny's snake there. So I think that was probably the challenge, Chris, where I was bought into this season. Because you had him, you had Barry McGuigan, and I sort of felt sorry for Barry because he was down there and he was like, oh, I can't see a thing. Ant and Dec were just laughing away like, yeah, I can't see anything. And yeah, the thing I liked about it, I was thinking, like, in that moment, I was thinking, at some point I'd be like, oh, fucking hell. I'd be getting really angry with myself. I'm like, fuck's sake, I can't do anything. And because he tried all the different combinations, he couldn't even do the old, listen or feel for the click, so many times left or so many times right or whatever to get the numbers. But he never lost it. But fucking hell, when they're chucking all the snakes in there, and he's going over the top, he's like, oh, fucking hell, there's more snakes. There's one on my shorts. I'm thinking, oh, come on. Like, I could imagine that'd be my only coping strategy, would be to, like, fucking hell. To actually not lose it would be to, like, yell out and, as some sort of self-defense mechanism or something. But I tell you what, when they fucking unzipped his shorts and you saw the fucking size of this snake, I was like, fair play to you. I don't know if I'd have been able to see that whole challenge through, to be honest.
No.
I'd have been fucking out of there.
To be honest, Dave, it did. I mean, when they pull the snake out, I was thinking, yeah, I'm getting a bit jealous, to be honest. But they... Honestly. When he said Danny Jones's snake, my eyes went to somewhere else. I was like, fucking hell. Yeah. Jesus.
I can't remember if it was Ant or Dec, but one of them was like, yeah, that's the definition of a trouser snake.
What did you think then when Moira come in and Reverend Richard Cole's, Dave, supposed to be a man of the cloth and being deceptive? I did like it though, when they were eating stuff and all the others are fucking doing. That was funny. That was funny.
Oh yeah, my first thought, and I didn't know anything about this guy. I thought, is this really the right time to be bringing someone associated with the church with all the recent things over the last few weeks? I thought maybe not, but he seems to genuinely be a bit of a celeb, doesn't he? Almost like I knew nothing about him, so I had a quick scan through Wikipedia, which is source of everything. It seems like he had something. He was in that early kind of 80s pop scene, and he was connected with like Jimmy Somerville and things like that. I was like, all right, okay, and he's sort of been around for a bit. But I thought, okay, let's see where this goes. And then the fact that they lived in luxury, and we knew Moira, didn't we, from series 5, Love Island, and so she was good entertainment for that. And so I thought, okay, let's see where this goes. And I think I think she's come out with some good one-liners as well, to be fair, hasn't she? And I think I've enjoyed seeing them in there, but also the fact that he's saying like, "Oh no, I feel really bad," and there's this ruse because they're trying to convince the other housemates, or what do you call them, islanders, whatever. The other contestants to give up food for them, but they've got more food than they actually need, and it seems like he's genuinely feeling quite bad at it, and Moira's fucking living her best life. She's not asked at all. So yeah, a lot. I have sort of enjoyed that a bit, I must admit.
No, and it has been good. And I know, obviously, like last night's trial, they had to do a proper trial, didn't they? Because that looked minging, Dave. When you do, and I've said to you before, I know, I'll hark back to this from last series, if anyone was, but I've done the Bush Tucker trials to win a holiday to Australia in 2010. And so I understand exactly what they're going through. I had to eat eyeballs, live locusts, all these different things. And like I said, the only one that was ever bad was the witchy grubs, because they I didn't know you're supposed to bite the head off them and then eat them, and it tastes like soil. But I ate it whole, and then it started biting the back of my sort of.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they're like, "You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to do that, Chris." And I was like, "Oh, you could have told me that before I put it in my mouth." But there you go. But anyway, I won a trip to Australia, so I was very, very lucky. But yeah, there's a point there where you're like, "What am I doing?" You know, like I mean, they probably are far worse than what I ate, because they must admit there wasn't a lot of taste to the stuff I ate, even though it was like eyeballs and stuff like that. But having been there, got the T-shirt, what was even more interesting when I did it was the fact that people were watching us. They were the ones being sick because their buckets there and everything. There was the people watching were heaving more than we were the people doing it. So, but no. Moira's been really good, really funny. And I think you're right. She knows what she's doing. She's been in the media since she left Love Island. She's had loads of different presenter jobs. She presented, was it Love Island America or so? She's done something, hasn't she? She's done some dating shows, and that she's been a presenter over in America as well. So she's kept her career up. The media career's been there. I think originally she was a ring girl, wasn't she, for boxing and that.
Yeah,
and then it's carried on from Love Island, if my memory serves me correct. But yeah, no, honestly, I just felt she's a welcome addition. It's whether like she'll carry it on and who's going to be the villain. I think at the moment it's pitching towards Dean, as I said earlier, but you need characters like that in this show. You do. Because you need somebody to root for and someone to root against. And I think Dean's going to, at the minute, he's swaying towards people sort of falling out of love with him, whereas I think initially everyone thought he was a great addition to that. And he could just be tiredness, everything. They've had a load of food. He might be better now, but there's just been a few little selfish things that straight away, Dave, you know what I'm like, the old Chris Phelps reality radar, 100%, satisfaction guaranteed. And I was like, no, there's something not right. There's something not right at all. So, we'll see.
It's funny with Moira. And again, I don't know if this is having that early impression of or being impressionable and watching Father Ted. There's something that combining someone like Moira with, the occasional one-liners, but with the heavy Irish accent, with the vicar, it just makes it funnier. And so when she's eating whatever she was eating, and to be fair, Ant and Dec themselves were saying that this is one of the worst ones. We were nearly being sick at this thing. And considering they've done 23 seasons before this, that says something. But Moira said something like, I'm not going to be able to swallow this, and that's not often I say that, or something.
Yeah, there's a few comments.
And then straight away she goes, "Sorry, Father." He's like, I don't understand that reference.
Oh, I fucking bet he does, Dave. Fucking bet he does.
Let's scooch right on past that one.
Let's go right past that one. Yeah. Being brought up in the Catholic Church, yeah. Altar boy I was. Let's move on, Dave. Yeah.
So, yeah, she has thrown out some good one-liners. Honestly, I think it's still on Channel 4 now. If you haven't watched Father Ted, I know we have a lot of people sort of watching from away from the UK Ireland sort of region. You've got to watch it. It's still fucking brilliant.
Yeah, it is. It's such good fun. So anything else, Dave, before we off?
No, I like yourself. I mean, for a lot of these shows that we watch, I don't love the first week. because, particularly for the dating shows, everyone's on their best behavior. And I think for this one, everyone's sort of on their best behavior. They've had some good time. I tell you what, I was sort of not jealous because I could just fucking go out and buy some food, to be honest, as well. But the idea of the campmates all having their rice and beans for ages, and then they got those burgers and pizza and fries and everything. I thought, oh, fucking hell, I bet that tastes like the best meal you've ever eaten. So I thought that was good. But I'm looking forward to seeing, a bit more hardship, maybe losing out on a few more challenges, and then seeing how wound up people get. So yeah, that's the absolute shit house. But that's the thing I'm looking forward to for this next week.
No, I am, and I will say, and knowing you're right, I do. That's what makes the show what it is. But also, everyone has a job, Dave, and you just mentioned something rather. I think they're eating sort of, rice and whatever meat they send in there or whatever, and then they've just given burgers, pizzas, whatever. I tell you what, Dave, whoever was on dunny duty the next day, that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, it's going to have an interesting effect, isn't it? And I think maybe having that meal, and having all of that food and then going into the hardship, it almost, it's going to make it worse than if they didn't have that meal.
Yeah. It will, because then you've got to go back then, haven't they? Oh, love it. Nice one, mate. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. We do appreciate all your support. We know we're coming up to Christmas, so we thought we had to cover this one. It's, as I said at the start, it's just an easy win for us as well, and it's something that hopefully anybody else outside the UK, you guys can get hold of the episodes. If you do want to watch it sort of live, or you want to watch it on demand, the ITVX app has it. If you've got a VPN, or if you want to use our NordVPN link, which is in the show notes, then, fire away. If not, on the front page of Facebook, Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast, there is links as well to the episodes. So come and join us. And obviously the group chat is going crazy as well, which is brilliant. Everyone talking about the show as well. So come over there, come and join us. Big thanks to Charlene for running Facebook for us or moderating that. If you want to email us, cdrealitycast@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media, @cdrealitycast. And as always, if you do want to support us a little bit more, please go over to patreon.com/cdrealitycast. So the roll call of honour for today, and a big thank you to Anna, Tilly, Marcy, Stacey, Sinead, Kathleen Sims, Andrea, Nick, Danielle, Kim, Amanda, Larissa, Helen, Nicola, Fiona, Zoe, Gillian, Keith, Helen, Chloe, Joanna, Libby, Susan, Lauren, Lucky Lou Green, and Kent Gustafsson. So thank you so much, guys, for your support. Everyone, I say it every week, everyone who supported us, past and present, we both truly appreciate it. So thank you so much.
That is amazing. And thank you very much, sir. It's been a good chat. Looking forward to week 2 out of 3. It also feels quite refreshing not to be looking at a 16-week slog or something like that. But yeah, so thank you very much, sir. Thanks to all our listeners. Thanks to all our supporters. And we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.